Charge what you're worth, they say. And this is the argument behind scaling businesses that have no business being scaled. When you've reached a certain income threshold, the only way to make more money is often to raise your prices beyond the actual value of what you're offering. When it's gas or Lysol, we call it what it is, price gouging. But when it's a coaching program, we have been brainwashed to call it high ticket. Welcome to Marketing Muckraking, the show that asks not simply what brand culture can do for us, but what it's doing to us. With your host, creative director, and brand strategist gone wild, Rachael Albers, making fun of business and making business fun. This is the show for rebels, revolutionaries, and renegades who run businesses that burn the rulebook. If you're sick of business podcasts that have all the answers, well, I got nothing but questions. Let's go. Episode 10, Secrets of the Seven-Figure Launch, and what you probably don't know about scaling your business model. Unpopular opinion alert. Some businesses have no business being scaled. The celebrity personal brands who dominate the conversation around online business have an obsession with scaling your business model, and it has created a mythology of easy passive income that lines their pockets while keeping most small businesses out in the cold. I cannot count the amount of entrepreneurs who have arrived at my doorstep telling me that they have been trying and failing to scale and finally hit that coveted 7-figure mark or 6 or even 5 and wondering what's wrong with them. They watch celebs like Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield or Jenna Kutcher flex their colossal launch numbers, and they mistakenly believe that they're just one funnel away from replicating the same results. But before I talk about the ethical problem with scaling and what you should do instead, that's the beautiful monster waiting for you at the end of this podcast, let's break down these 7 elements that make up a bloated 7-figure launch. 1, affiliates with big lists. 2, manipulative testimonials. 3, brand omnipresence through ads and email spam. 4, underpaid subcontractors. 5, cult of personality, aka the power of a celebrity personal brand. 6, price gouging through artificially inflated perceived value. And 7, replacing one-on-one attention with a high volume of students. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. I want to go deeper into these 7 secrets to a 7-figure launch. Let's start with number 1, affiliates with big lists. Very few, if any, celebrity personal brands achieve big launch numbers without leveraging the built-in audiences of their affiliates. It is costly and time-consuming to turn a cold lead, that is someone who has never heard of you, into a paying customer. So, folks like Marie Forleo and Tony Robbins resell the same thing again and again with great success, not on the power of the product itself, but by expanding to new audiences that are unfamiliar with what they offer and very familiar with the personal brand that they trust. This is why I call Dean Graziosi the Kutcher catcher. He and Tony Robbins used Jenna Kutcher for access to her audience of people who were new to their offer and its merits, or let's be real, the lack thereof. Selling through affiliates is a shortcut around nurturing an audience and building trust over time. It also saves tons of money on ads. It is so expensive to take a cold lead who has never heard of you and nurture them all the way up into trusting you and wanting to buy from you. So affiliate marketing relies on the trust someone else has already built with their own audience. And I'll talk about this more in number 5. The second secret of a 7-figure launch, manipulative testimonials. If you scroll any sales page, you will see plenty of stories about students 10xing this and skyrocketing that. But if you keep scrolling all the way down, you will find a disclaimer hidden in the fine print, results not typical. Not only are these testimonials manipulative because they suggest massive results are the rule instead of the 1% exception, but these stories often come from business owners who either already had successful businesses to begin with or experienced a program while it was still intimate and personalized. Marie Forleo is a great example of this because she uses famous students like Amy Porterfield or Laura Belgray to prove the value of her BSchool program while obscuring the fact that they took the course while she was still offering one-on-one support. Not to mention the fact that in Amy and Laura's case specifically, they spent 5 figures to be a part of Marie's original Rich, Happy, and Hot Mastermind. Yes, that was the name of it. And that curriculum is what ultimately formed the foundation of BSchool, where they worked directly with Marie in a small group setting amidst other industry leaders like Gabrielle Bernstein, Chris Carr, Laura Roeder. So their success came in part from the affiliate sales that they all made for each other in the years following their work with Forleo. If you go to any of their sales pages, you'll see they're all giving each other testimonials and boosting each other's brands. But their sales pages and affiliate emails don't tell you that. They simply say, I took BSchool and had amazing results, while obscuring the main factors that contributed to their success. 7-figure launch secret number 3, brand omnipresence through ads and email spam. There is a reason that the month of February has become known in certain circles as BSchool season. If you happen to follow anyone in Marie Forleo's League of Affiliates, you can expect a deluge of emails, social content, and targeted ads following you around the internet, whispering sweet nothings about passive income in your ear. And if you follow multiple affiliates, that whisper quickly becomes a scream. A scaled model like Marie's relies on driving a huge volume of prospects into her funnel, knowing that with enough coaxing, just a small percentage will convert into sales. But within this approach, an email or 2 just will not do. The BSchool model is meant to wear you down, to lower your defenses, to gaslight you out of your objections through many, many advertising touchpoints. Back when I was still subscribed to her affiliates lists, on cart close day alone, I could receive between 50 to 100 emails collectively just on this one day, each with their own twist on the last chance high pressure headlines. And if you listen to episode 6 of this podcast, you heard me talk about how I almost became snared by BSchool in this exact way. Despite having a healthy, thriving business, which makes me a bad candidate for BSchool because I already know everything she teaches there, the annual hurricane of ads had me questioning whether Marie was keeping some secret I needed to get to that next level everyone's always yapping about. Here's the thing. Omnipresence is a form of propaganda, and it works. I talked about this in episode 2, How to Lose Friends and Alienate People, and how during World War I, the Creel Committee realized how to manipulate public opinion by simply repeating the same message over and over again everywhere, in newspapers and films and posters and signs and so on and so forth. This is actually how advertising earned its chops as a legitimate business tool. The powers that be, the capitalists of the age, realized that they could overpower the masses and subvert an individual's reason and logic through force. So you're really going to want to listen to this episode if you haven't already for more on how Edward Bernays, the father of public relations, took this concept and used it to do things like popularize smoking in women and literally orchestrate the 1954 Guatemalan coup. Moving right along to the number 4 7-figure launch secret, underpaid subcontractors. If you followed Free School, you might remember that I briefly had a relationship with the girl boss who invented gaslighting and gatekeeping, Sophia Amorosa. She found me while she was in a launch push for her business class program, and she happened on one of my episodes of Awkward Marketing, and I will not hide that, at the time, I was starstruck. One minute I was making girl boss parody videos, and the next I am literally in the DMs with the girl boss herself. And she was asking me advice about how to DIY her launch emails and whether her private jet spoof videos were funny. They weren't. But what she didn't know was that I was friends with several of the copywriters that she had interviewed to write copy for the course. But she didn't hire them because they were too expensive. Crying poor is pretty rich for someone who touts her $100 million in revenue as a sales page selling point. Let's be real, launch copy is a big job. Copywriters are tasked with writing thousands of words for sales pages, dozens of variations on ad creative, and often hundreds of emails to boot. Not to mention that they must spend the time to familiarize themselves with the course creator and their teaching so they can emulate their voice and properly capture the features and benefits of the program. Celebs like Sophia Amorosa gaslight themselves and each other because they're always encouraging each other to hire some low-budget technician into undervaluing the work of copywriters, designers, integrators, assistants, and they refer to these specialists as technicians and mechanics. Those are actual words I've heard from industry leaders who want to hire me to justify paying a pittance. And this opens up a whole can of worms around how capitalism relies on exploiting billions of workers and paying them pennies for their production that make the Bezos of the world filthy rich. But that is muckraking for another day. Behind every girl boss with a social feed full of relatable stretch marked vulnerability posts is a team of people working 12 hours a day to create a scaled illusion of authenticity. And speaking of that, the number 5 seven-figure launch secret is cult of personality, i.e., the power of a celebrity personal brand. If I will give Marie Forleo any credit, it is this. She was an early adopter of personal branding. Forleo famously cites how she started her email list with a yellow legal pad and she had her hip-hop dance students sign up at the end of class in the early 2000s. I first learned of Forleo when my very first client shared this story when she hired me in 2009 to essentially copy and paste the Marie method. It was also this client who had me write blogs about the 4-hour work week and keep my eye on that funny talking shrimp and the Facebook girl who pivoted to become Online Marketing Made Easy's Amy Porterfield. Oh, little did I know that this client was planting the seeds of free school in my soon-to-be muckraking heart. Oh, bless it. This client might have been the first, but she was certainly not the last. Over the years, I have had hundreds of people come my way, all begging me to build a brand like Forleo's. It's why I wrote my viral article, You Don't Want Marie Forleo's Website, when I was still kissing the industry's ass, because the article goes very easy on Forleo and focuses instead on how emulating someone whose brand you admire does not mean you will duplicate their success. The scores of passive income hopefuls who have come my way over the years are all drawn in by Marie's girl next door quality and their mistaken belief that they too are just a few vlogs and subscribers away from becoming a BSchool-esque case study. But Marie was a runaway hit, not because she simply applied her own teachings, but because she was one of the first to do so. She leveraged lead magnets and content marketing to build her list and brand equity when no one else was doing so. The practices that she used to gain traction are now outdated and overdone, but don't tell that to her testimonials. She earned her celebrity status and her Oprah shout out by being the first to the game. And now she leverages this celebrity as her proof of concept. This is a pivotal reason why her affiliate marketing works. Even if someone has never heard of Marie Forleo before, when they're introduced by someone they trust and then they check her website and see Oprah's name on it, that combination of an existing affiliate trust and the power of a celebrity personal brand offers a swift 1-2 punch. They wouldn't be rich and famous if they didn't know something I don't is the number one strategy for overcoming her prospects' objections when they're considering buying BSchool. And speaking of buying, the number 6 seven-figure launch secret is price gouging through artificially inflated perceived value. It is this cult of personality that I'm talking about in number 5 that creates an illusion of $2,500 value for a program that parrots what you can find for free on Google. This is the bedrock of branding. Brands were born to imbue products with an illusion of superiority so they could compete in the marketplace. Why do you buy Coca-Cola and not the bargain brand? Because you have been trained to associate Coke with a feeling. That feeling doesn't come from the can. It comes from a marketing campaign. And this is the pricing advice that celebrity business coaches pass on to their students under the fluffy label of money mindset. Charge what you're worth, they say. And this is the argument behind scaling businesses that have no business being scaled. When you've reached a certain income threshold, the only way to make more money is often to raise your prices beyond the actual value of what you're offering. When it's gas or Lysol, we call it what it is, price gouging. But when it's a coaching program, we have been brainwashed to call it high ticket. What we really should call it is unethical and exploitative. And finally, the number 7 seven-figure launch secret, replacing one-on-one attention with a high volume of students. Seven-figure launches rely on volume, results be damned, and this is the scaling trap. Small businesses begin to fantasize about the fairy tale of easy passive income, the myth that anyone can make dick funnels full of money without actually engaging in their business anymore. And I find it heartbreaking and distressing when I meet a talented business owner who has validated their offer. They have helped oodles of people in one-on-one and group settings, and now they believe that they are leaving money on the table if they don't extract themselves from the equation and take their solution to the masses. And when they do this, they're stripping their services of the very value that validated the offer to begin with. As I shared in the last episode of the show, How to Be an Overnight Success, celebrity business coaching programs that operate in this way aren't actually coaching people to build businesses. They are recruiting followers into their flock to reinforce the mythology that made them millionaires. A high-ticket program without personal attention is relying on price gouging and a cult of personality to bilk buyers into spending their hard-earned money on something that is a far cry from the experience that earned its early testimonials. I don't care how good a program is. If you're not giving students tons of tailored attention, you shouldn't be charging high-ticket prices. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the lowly technician that people hire to really help them when the big box doesn't work. I believe that scaling in this way is not sustainable or ethical for most businesses. And I almost said but I got a yes and myself here. There is a way to free up your time and ease back on long work weeks. And I explain it in the video. When you go to the show notes, I want to show you how I have scaled my personalized one-on-one branding experience into a more efficient client system and a live group course that I run every year or so without removing personalization from the equation. I direct you to the video because I actually take you on a behind the scenes of what that system looks like because I've got my own custom dashboard for my clients and everything. But I'll give you a TLDR because the beautiful monster at the end of this podcast, I don't want to leave you hanging. And that really is that I have taken the pieces that I repeat again and again, the parts of my onboarding, the parts of my sales content, the stuff that I'm saying over and over again on sales calls, or the stuff that I'm saying over and over again in the early strategy calls that I have with my client. I have automated and codified that piece, which frees up my time. It really helps me conserve my energy. And then when I do get on those one-on-one strategy calls with my clients, I'm not repeating myself. I'm not saying the same thing over and over again. They've already been introduced to all those concepts. I can really dive deep and tailor everything that I'm doing with the client to them while relaxing and relying on my own foundational work to kind of give them that early support before we ever even get on the phone. So check out that video and I show you a behind the scenes. I kind of felt naked doing that because I rarely show it to people who aren't working with me. And so now you get to take a little peek. And my advice, if you are looking for a business coach or a brand strategist, I urge you to only invest in programs or experiences that put personal attention front and center, and lots of it. You need a talented tailor, not a big box. If you want more marketing muckraking and brand strategy gone wild, I invite you to subscribe to this show. And if you enjoyed it, leave me a review. That really helps me out. If you hated it, please send it to your enemies. They sound like good people. You can go to rachaelkalbers.com/subscribe to get these updates in your inbox. And because this show is self-sponsored, if you wanted to support my work, you can go to buymearobe.com. That's where the magic happens. In the meantime, remember, it's not the age of the niche. It's the age of the wild card bitch. See you on the internet.